Hey everybody, welcome to this week's episode of NBTV. Today we're going to be talking about why a home inspection is important. We are here with Shane Worth. Shane, thanks for sitting down with us.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
We want to give you guys expert advice. That's what NBTV is all about, is sitting down with people who know what they're talking about. So before we really get into what we're here to talk about, what is your background in the industry?
Actually, I come from 25 years of experience in the residential and commercial building trades. I was a journeyman mason, a project supervisor. So I've built homes, I've built buildings, I've been in control of all the systems that are in it. So I'm certified through HSTI, which is a Home Inspection Training Institute, and I am also certified through INTERNACHI, which is the International Association of Certified Home Inspectors.
Wow.
And they are the largest home inspection certification group in the world.
So you're very well qualified.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just a basic start off point. Why is a home inspection important?
Well, a home inspection is important because what happens is we go to my client, I meet my client there, and we go through the inspection. We begin to start the inspection, and as we're doing it, our clients are looking at where their pictures are going to hang and what their kids are going to be doing outside and how, where they're going to put these things. And they don't really see what's really going on with the home. I mean, the paint looks good and the floor looks like it's new, but there's a lot of things that are behind the scenes that people just don't see. And that's why you need to get a home inspection. Yeah. You can be blinded by, glare and the glitter of it all.
Yeah, the house might look great, but
yeah,
you don't know what's happening behind the walls.
Exactly.
Right. So can you give us a quick rundown of what you do when you go to a house for an inspection?
Normally when I first pull up to the inspection, I analyze the outside, get somewhat of a general description of what's going on outside. I then, I meet the client, obviously, and then I normally start on the roof, and when I do a roof inspection, I walk on every roof. I carry big ladders to where I am able to get on the roof and give you an accurate analysis of what is going on with your roof. I'll go through the grounds, things that are going on outside, your drainage, your site, your HVAC system, your compressor and condenser that are outside. Then once I make my way inside, I typically go straight for the electrical box. I, analyze it. I make sure that things are done correctly and wired correctly, and amperage for your home is adequate for the size of a home that you have and your needs. And then go through the rest of the major systems structurally, analyze your walls for hydrostatic pressure, for settlement cracks, for anything that it would be a defect that would be involved with the foundation, and make my way up out of the basement typically and analyze the rest of the systems and fixtures through the home and make sure that outlets are working, make sure fixtures work correctly and no leaks in your plumbing and things like that.
So it's a lot. It's extensive.
It's pretty extensive.
Which it should be, I think.
Yeah, it should be. And I try to be as thorough as I can.
Right. So like you said, a lot of people go into it thinking they can really see their couch here. And we were talking about that before we started rolling, that a lot of people look at the paint and are the countertops upgraded and things like that. So, and I think, I've been through the process before, and that can be blinding. But as somebody who might be a first-time home buyer, and they're going into a home for the first time, what are some of the things they really should be looking at as opposed to the things that they're going to naturally be looking at?
Well, actually, if a home buyer comes with me hires me to do a home inspection for them, they really just need to relax. Give me any questions that you have. If you have a concern, something like that, ask me. I always try to tell our clients not to think that you're bothering me if you ask me if I'm in the middle of something. We'll get to the bottom of your question then and there. And things they should just be looking for is really what we talked about, where they're going to put their stuff, where, trust that, I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do for them.
What do you think would be the biggest thing that you think homeowners miss when they're looking at homes?
Really, it's simple things. I mean, leaks underneath it, and when you're upstairs and you try a fixture or something like that, and then you walk downstairs or whatnot, and you never even notice that you actually had a leak going on or whatnot. The faucet it worked, the shower it came on, their electric work, that you see an outlet and you assume that it works, and then once you're in a bathroom or around water, you would assume that your GFCIs are working correctly, and there's a lot of times that they're not. They don't trip correctly, and that's just part, of wear and tear or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Right, and I'm glad you touched on that, because I know the first house I ever bought, you go into the house and you feel like you're in somebody else's space, so you don't think, turn on the faucets and make sure they're working okay, flush the toilets, make sure the plumbing is working okay, turn on and off the lights and make sure those are functioning properly. So I'm glad you talked about that, because I think a lot of first-time homebuyers might not think about those kind of things.
And a lot of times what I try to tell them is when I get there with the client, when you come with your real estate agent, it's a little more formal. I mean, you guys are kind of, you're tippy-toeing through. You're just trying to look at things. You're not really trying to get into things. Once they come with me, I tell them, get into things, slam doors, make sure that the house is going to work the way you want it to work.
Yeah, and there's one thing that we talked about before we started rolling that I wanted to bring up, and that's that there is a misconception with home inspectors that they're there to ruin the deal.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad you said that, because I want to talk about that, because that is a misconception for you guys, and that would be so difficult to have to overcome, because you're not there to ruin the deal.
No.
To me, you're there to actually make sure my house is safe.
I want to make sure that your house is safe for you and your family, and make sure that, your house isn't going to hurt you, because your house can literally kill you, and you would not even know it. People that are, allergic to mold, things like that. Some people can live in their whole lives. They never even notice, Some people, are greatly affected by it. And yes, and killing a deal is not our intention whatsoever. And we just want to make sure that things are done correctly, and like you said, the people, the residents are safe.
So if I am a first-time home buyer and I'm looking at a house, and I keep saying first-time home buyer because I feel like those are the people that haven't been through an inspection, and you don't know what to expect when you're going through that. So if I'm looking at a house and I'm before I put in an offer, it's my first time looking at a house, is there something on the exterior or interior of the house that I might see that should give me pause to put in an offer?
Mm-hmm. Well, on the exterior, what you'd want to do is kind of look around your home, make sure see where water's setting. If you have swells or something in there and there's water pooled up, or if you have cracks in your foundation, or now not all cracks are bad. There's settlement cracks that are completely, it just happens. And if it doesn't, then which would mean your whole house is sinking at the same exact time. So that would be a bigger issue than what the crack would be. But yeah, the exterior, I would look for water. Water is the worst enemy that you could possibly have in a home or any building structure. It will destroy everything. Your roof, glance over your roof, make sure you don't have shingles that are wavy or are curling up or, just not there. Those are all potential leaks, and I don't expect you to get onto the roof or whatever. And a lot of times, a lot of roofs look really good from the ground, and they look like they're brand new. And I will get up there and they'll have granule loss that there's no way you could have ever possibly seen it unless you actually were on top of it.
Right.
So inside, major things are again structural issues. Look for cracks in the walls that are not only vertical cracks, but that stair step cracks that go up your block foundation, or if the even worse of the two is a horizontal crack that starts and typically it happens about 32 inches from the ground level, right at the frost line, and that's where hydrostatic pressure starts. Yeah.
That's some really good information. Like, I wish I would have known that
Yeah.
going into my first house when I bought it.
Yeah.
That's good to know. Do you have any prominent stories that stick out on your mind of houses that you've seen or anything crazy that's happened when you've gone out for an inspection?
Yes, actually, this has happened at my house. And
Oh, no.
Yeah, yeah. I try to, sealant, just caulking or whatever, and around your home and stuff like that. It seems nitpicky on an inspection or on a report, like, seal, make sure you seal this or that. And some caulking's $3, $4, and seems petty to even have to put on a report. But we were doing a our kitchen remodel, and instead of taking the luan and stuff that had been nailed down just entirely too much, I went ahead and just took the whole floor up. Well, when I go to lift up the flooring, there's a hornet's nest that is underneath our floor that is about 2 feet wide and about 4 feet long, and they'd been living there. We never heard them one time, anything. It was the biggest hornet's nest that I've ever seen. And luckily we did it in the wintertime. And if it had been in the summertime, it very well could have killed someone in the house. Because they don't stop once they start.
Yeah.
They could have, so that would be one of yeah.
That's
so,
awful.
just $3 would have fixed that,
Yeah.
and and a lot of times, you don't see that sort of thing too. And that's brings another point to where homeowners, a lot of times, they're things that end up going wrong, they adjust and they don't see it no more. So a lot of times it's not like a homeowner's trying to be dishonest when in a disclosure or something like that, but they just don't see that anymore. Those defects or whatever, they've lived with it and it's just went by.
So are there any other red flags that people need to look at when they're touring a house?
Yes, when you go into your home or future home, you go in and to look at your electrical box. It's all going to look the same. It's going to look like an electrical box. But electrical boxes are recommended to be upgraded, and they are to be upgraded. We've gone through 3 different systems since the invention of the electrical box. There was fuses that we used. Then we went to push-matic breakers, which push-matic breakers are becoming obsolete as well. So you kind of want to look at your panel, make sure that you have breakers that are switch breakers. AFCI and GFCI type breakers are I believe are a must.
Right.
And those help protect protect yourself from electrocution. But if your water tank looks like it's been sitting there and it's rusted at the bottom, things like that, those are things that they're going to need to be fixed one way or the other. Your plumbing wise, if you have cast iron for your drain lines, or if say your water lines are actually stainless steel, or not stainless but galvanized steel, those will be things that'll need to be upgraded, and those can become an expense once you start to pile them all onto each other.
Yeah, and that's good to know going in, because I'm not an electrician. So,
Yeah.
I do know what a good box should look like, but if somebody is new and they're looking at that, that's something they need to know going in.
Right.
No need to put an offer in a house that just by looking at it with your eyes, that without being an expert, of course, that's going to need replaced.
And with that said, your wiring even. Knob and tube wiring. Now, there's nothing really wrong with knob and tube wiring. It's safe and it's worked for a long time. We've just moved past that, and the thing I always try to suggest is, if you're doing repairs in your home or upgrades or anything or remodels or whatnot, pull that wiring and put new in, even if you just do it in that area and eventually you'll have it all changed, without having to have a contractor come in and, completely demolish your house to get this taken care of, and cost you thousands of dollars, Yeah. So, yeah, and those would probably be the more major type things I'd look at.
Thank you, Shane, for sitting down with us today. That was perfect information. Hopefully, if you're a first-time home buyer, or even if you're an expert, you can watch this and get some information from it. Thanks for watching, guys. As always, if you have comments, drop them down below the video. If you have any questions, send us a message. We'll be happy to get back with Shane, get you some answers. And if not, see you next week.